just a reminder that these conversations are recorded, and they are uploaded in our website either later today or tomorrow morning at the latest, along with all the slides and the flyers that were sent to us to share with you all. I'm Brendaly Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us at the CVCC Partners Call for the month of March. And I will ask David to share the screen so we can get started with the slides. We have some updates to share with you on our front of the CVCC and our staff activities. And also we will be sharing some updates from other organizations that are our closest partners. And as always, that's our website. You always checked what's going on there. We have also kind of celebrating or raising awareness about World Hearing Day, which is on the March 3rd. It was on March 3rd, but the whole month is to raise awareness about hearing healthcare for all. Next, next slide. And I will share with you some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations we have had with our staff, and some of their perceptions and concerns regarding our increased service with the school reopenings coming soon. And also, we would like to share with you, we started a project sharing the voices of our CVCC staff, because it's not only enough to talk about numbers and services rendered, but rather a personalized view of our staff who actually make all these things happening. And we'll start with one, sharing it with you in the blog. Also, we will be sharing some updates on the canned food drives-through contactless that our partner Chula Vista Welfare Council is doing. They have had to shift gears from the traditional fundraising activities to provide us with the food boxes that we share with our clients and each of our 5 FRCs, because they obviously with COVID, they have had to shift from traditional to other ways of collecting those donations. We'll share those updates with you and invite you to a new one coming up this Saturday, the 20th, March the 20th. And after sharing some very quick updates from some of you, we will go into the presentations with our partners. We have 4 today, and then we'll have this space open for your comments and announcements. And just a reminder, put it in your calendar that our next collaborative meeting is on April the 13th, always the same link, and you can find that in our webpage on the tab Partners. Next slide. Yes, so as many of you or your organizations have been going through some internal looks and revisions and taking a closer examination about values and services, we also have been looking inward regarding to issues and concerns on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we worked on we did a session on diversity, equity, and inclusion in our staff meeting and follow it up with a survey that included other items. But I just wanted to share with you, and maybe it's also relevant to some of your organizations, to also take a closer look at what you guys are doing internally and with your staff and perceptions of these concepts and how they affect their services. So our staff is 19 members, and from those we got 15 responses. They now almost all of them can join us via a tablet or a laptop. We have gone through a transition to move into more of the virtual world since last year, as many of you as well. And they were really touched and motivated with those discussions and wanted to actually more. Next slide. Regarding the interactivity setting on using breakout rooms and all that we are trying to kind of incorporate in our staff meetings in the virtual world, they were almost like half and half, indicating about the length. It's always hard to calibrate, how long an activity should be or how, breakout room activity. So we are also finding our grip on that, as many of you. And if you have any example of those kind of activities and how to make it more engaging for participants, just shoot me an email after this call. I really want to learn from what everybody else is doing on these topics. They wanted more on diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations, and also wanted to hear outside voices. So we will be looking for speakers and those sort of things for our internal staff meetings on these topics. And never forgetting about self-health care and mental well-being. Next slide. We have actually improved on how we are working remotely from home, not only on the technical side of things, but also on the connection with other members of the team. Most of the struggles also you would have been experiencing in your own organizations in terms of this transition from face-to-face interaction and working with clients and with your colleagues to this. So after 9 months of this transition, we're looking back and seeing that as compared to when I arrived at the collaborative 9 months ago, they are more optimistic. The staff is more optimistic about working and sorting through the work from working from home remotely. Next slide. And I asked about the top 3 challenges, really, to be in the lookout for options and recommendation tips and managing all that coming up, especially as we transition back and slowly into this new normal. And yes, there's still general anxiety about the ongoing impact of COVID, not only on their lives, on their clients and families and friends. There's still issues about the communication, kind of to balance the Zoom and the virtual world will kind of other types of communication with both clients and staff members. And again, the internet connectivity issues as they vary, and that of their physical workplace at their home and office. So those are those major concerns that we will be tackling as a CVCC entity with our staff members as we move forward in 2021, as we open back for client traffic to our 5 family resource centers. As you may know, we have had to close them, but not for service. We're open by appointment and through window of service. So we're still on those 5. And actually, let's go to the next slide, because our, sorry, our 5 family resource centers are still open, and those are our locations. Feel free to share this information with the families in need. It's that there's no wrong door. You don't have to live in a particular area to get our services. Just go to one of our family resource centers. Next slide. And here is when I invited David Garcia. He's also part of the Chula Vista Welfare Council to give us an update on the activities regarding the food donations that they provide to our families through the 5 family resource centers. David?
Thank you, Brendaly. David here with the Welfare Council. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows about our upcoming food drive. That's March 20th. It's a Saturday. It's going to be at one of our FRC locations, New Directions, and we'll include all those detailed information on our messaging to you all. But just wanted to give you a background on Welfare Council. They were founded in the 1920s, like about 100 years ago. They've been doing this for a very long time, and they've been very supportive of the family resource centers and really just being there for the community in the times of need. This time around, they're really shifting and using our community partners. So if you have any questions about it, we'll follow up with you. But there is a section on our website that has all this information. And yeah, feel free to visit and learn more about the Chula Vista Welfare Council.
Thank you, David. And if you or your staff have time for volunteer, there's the contact information for the president, Christina.ross@cvesd.org. Next slide. And here I have asked David to kind of share a little bit about our project regarding our blog and our series of videos from our staff members. It's always very nice to give a face to the name that answers the call when your family or client is on need. David, do you want to just showcase it on the webpage, or that's the site? That is the link.
One second.
Once we meet again, you will meet them face to face and exchange stories and good times once we're back meeting face to face.
Yeah, so this is our blog section. It's on our website, but you can see our different postings here. This is a series that we're doing, showcasing our staff. Go ahead and play that.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Enriquez. I am the Community Referral Specialist for Beacon Family Resource Center, and I am the Family Engagement Specialist for CVCC. I have been part of this organization for more than 15 years. Being part of CVCC this long shows the love and dedication that both CVCC and I have for our clients, staff, and community. Being CVCC for me means family. Family takes care of each other, respects, supports one another, advocates, and loves no matter the outcome. This is why I am CVCC.
So thank you, David, and thank you to Rebecca. We have some of those videos in English and some in Spanish as they felt more comfortable in the language that they use every day to serve our families. And now I'll move on to some of quick updates. Marta Quintero is going to give us a full presentation in the April's a partners call, but I just wanted to just leave one slide there regarding some of her projects and a new program that she wants to talk to us about regarding debt forgiveness. And that will be with more details next partners call in April. Next slide. And we had a submission from Baby Ruth Save, have a diaper program and clothing armoire. Do we have a representative from that organization giving us just a quick update? They do have a program with that offers free diapers and clothing. So it's by appointment only, of course, and you have to wear your mask. But clients can call this number and make that appointment. Next slide. Also, we have with us today Maria Mila, and she will be telling us about COVID testing. And that schedule changes regularity, so I will let Maria give all the details.
Yes, hi. Thank you. Thank you, Brendaly, for the opportunity to tell the partners a little bit about the program. So we are, this is Communities Fighting COVID. It's a program that is funded by the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and it's a partnership between San Diego State University and community organizations. And the goal is to increase the testing, COVID-19 testing in our communities, especially the most vulnerable communities. Our focus communities are the Spanish-speaking, Tagalog-speaking, Arabic-speaking, and African-American communities in San Diego County. So we offer mobile, free rapid COVID-19 testing at mobile sites. So we've been in the community from the beginning of the year, and offering testing in the Encanto area, 92114 and 92154 in the Otay Mesa area. So these flyers here are for this week, for our site in 92154 and Nestor United Methodist Church. So we are there, well, we were there yesterday, we'll be there tomorrow and Saturday. So we have the flyers in English, Tagalog is this one, and we also have it in English and Spanish. So if any of you are interested in a copy, just send me an email, I'll send it to you, but we're trying to disseminate and bring people, increase traffic. Because I know that the vaccination, people that are vaccinating, I vaccinated is increasing, but we still need to protect those that are not vaccinated. And so regular testing is still important. And the other thing is that we, as I said, we've been in these areas, but we're looking to also expand to the Chula Vista area, starting in a couple of weeks, more or less, and to El Cajon. So we're looking for partners in Chula Vista, organizations that might have the capacity to host us as to offer the testing, as a mobile testing site. So again, if you have any interest in information, I put my email in the chat. So please reach out, and I'll be happy to talk to you and give you more details. Thank you, Brendaly.
Yes, thank you for coming. And yeah, that's an important statement regarding education. We do need to continue educating the community, and as the phases open up regarding vaccination, a lot of misinformation is out there. So we will be working with many of you as partners in educating the community about vaccine and dispelling those myths and emphasizing the importance of COVID-19 testing along the way.
Yes. So if you need any more details, reach out, please. Thank you, Brendaly.
You're welcome. Next slide, David. We also receive updates from a program, the free virtual car seat safety training. Is there a representative to tell us more about the program? And the basic information is right there with you. There's a form online that you need to make your registration because it's virtual. The whole program is virtual, like many of our other programs. And you can also text them at the number on your screen. Next slide. We also have an update from the oral health program that is actually very time sensitive. So I think we have Nidia with us today, and she's going to tell us more about this Give Kids a Smile program.
Good morning. My name is Nidia. I'm with the county's oral health programs, and we are promoting this event. This happens once a year, every year, and it is a program that is focused on prevention. And what we are providing is this information about bringing the kids to get these services. And the service would be the sealants, which is a protection of a coating around the molars, which is those are the teeth that usually get the big decay. So this program is for 18 and younger. So everybody, even high school kids, can go in and get the services. And this flyer that you can see here on the screen, it tells you there's like 30 clinics throughout the county. And right now we need appointments in East County. So if you have partners in East County that you can share this with, I mean, it would be awesome. But like I said, you go in, you don't have to have insurance. They don't ask questions to Social Security or cash or anything. You just go and sign to allow the dentist to work on your children, and that's all. And then they also put like a fluoride on the teeth and that straightens the enamel. That stays in it for about an hour, and then they can go on their way and eat and stuff. And also for the kids that are starting kindergarten this year, they get the oral health assessment that's required by the state. And they give you the form, and then you're ready to register the children in the kindergarten. So this is a great event. It's almost ending on the 19th. Yeah, so we still have a few days there, but you have to call and make an appointment, because there's, like I said, there's different clinics and they have different timings. Some of them are Saturday from 8 to 12 or Wednesday from 1 to 5. So it's important that you call and make an appointment and share this, please.
Certainly.
And then we're available for when the schools open again, we're available to do presentations, and we do them from 1st to 6th grade. And we're there to educate and promote good oral health.
Fantastic. And indeed, I know that many of our activities are concentrated on COVID-19 response, education, and mobilization, but definitely there are other health issues that, and even in prevention, which is this one, I really think that we cannot lose track of these kind of programs. So thank you for sharing that, Nidia.
Thank you for letting me talk about this. It's important because right now we're focusing on survival and food, but we need to keep our teeth. They're supposed to last us as long as we live.
Why not begin with the children? And this flyer will be included in the packet of materials that David will be uploading in our website for your, you can download later on. Thank you.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you and welcome. So now we do have a full presentations from 4 of our partners. Right now, again, going back to COVID, we have had news about this rental and utility assistance programs are made available. And currently there are 3 programs that are servicing the San Diego County, but 2 are geographically focused. So one is the city of San Diego for residents in that area, and one most relevant to us as a Chula Vista Community Collaborative is that of the city of Chula Vista. And that program is managed by SBCS, formerly known as South Bay Community Services. And we do have a speaker, Jose Mireles, that will tell us more about it. We will also get to know more about those programs, because I think the month of March is also a nutrition month, something. So we did want to include nutrition and week programs updates from San Ysidro Health. And we will have more of a service overview from the Southern Caregiver Resource Center. Now, those caregiver issues have become forward for discussion more and more as we progress through this pandemic. And lastly, we will have more updates from SBCS with the first 5 First Steps Home Visiting Program, and Michelle will tell us more later. So let's get started with Jose's presentation, David. Thank you. We have Jose today with us. Hi, good morning, Jose.
Hi, good morning, Brendaly. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to come in and talk about the program.
Yes, certainly. We have fielded many questions in our family resource centers, and we wanted really to hear from you, directly from you. I know that we may not have all the time today to go over many of the questions, but it's important that you share at the end, and maybe in the chat log too, your contact info, because as we in the front lines have many very logistic and very specific questions about eligibility and considerations of the income levels and all those sort of things that are important and crucial to stop an application from not being considered. So I'll let you to it, and thank you, Jose.
All right, thank you. All right, so good morning, everybody. And just wanted to also mention that I have my colleague here, Jerry Schroeder, who will also pitch in case anything that we need to add onto this this information. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into, I'm gonna fly through these slides so I can cover as much as I can. So if I could go into the next slide, please. So first of all, like what's the Chula Vista ERAP program? So this is the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And basically it's a rental and utility assistance program for individuals that were financially impacted by COVID-19. It's a program that's funded by a combination of both federal and state funding. But pretty much the goal of the program is to stabilize a household by clearing the rental debt that was accumulated during this first year of the pandemic. And so the months that are being covered are from April 1st of 2020 of last year through March 31st of this year. So that's pretty much this month. So all those months we're looking at the past due rent that was accumulated. And from our part, like Brendaly mentioned, that there's 3 entities that are working together in this program. For SBCS, we're going to begin accepting applications starting as of March 15th, which is next Monday. And funds need to be spent out by June 1st. So we have a very short window of time to get these funds completed. So next slide, please. So as far as the types of assistance that this covers, so the first one is in terms of rental arrears. So the way this works is that the program covers 80% of an ineligible household's unpaid rental debt from the months that I mentioned, from April 1st of 2020 through March 31st of this month. The remaining 20% of that unpaid debt has to be forgiven by the landlord in order to receive this 80% of assistance. Now, in situations where the landlord refuses to participate, the program can still assist, but it can only provide 25% of that unpaid rent debt, and also during those same months. Next slide, please. The other type of assistance is utility arrears. So for this, the program can cover 100% of those past due bills, again, also during that time frame from April 1st through March 31st. And the types of utilities that are covered are electricity, gas, water, sewer, trash, and some of those other energy costs. Those are the types that are able to get covered through this program. Other types of services like telecommunications type, like the phone, the internet, cable, all those things, those are not allowable. So only kind of those basic type of utilities. Now in situations where there maybe like the utilities are included in the rent, that gets covered through the rental assistance that's provided. And then also, like in case there's somebody that just needs that utility assistance, they can also receive just that. They don't have to go through the having to get rental assistance in order to get that utility. So they're not tied together. Next slide, please. Now the third type of assistance that this covers is future rent or prospective rent. And for that, the months that are covered are April, May, and June of this year. So there's only those 3 months, and only 25% of that prospective rent is covered. So it's a big difference between the arrears and the prospective rent. Next slide, please. Now, there's some additional details that are very important to mention is that the combination of all the assistance that we provide, they cannot exceed 12 months. So you could have maybe somebody who receives 10 months of rental arrears and maybe 2 months of prospective rent. So all in all, a combination of those 12 months. The payments can go directly to the landlord or the utility companies. Now, in situations where, in those cases where the landlord refuses to participate, the funds can actually even go to the client. But again, going back to that, if the landlord doesn't refuses to participate, then in these situations, only 25% of that rental arrear can be provided. Next slide, please. Now, like Brendaly mentioned, there's 3 entities that are covering this program. So the first one is the San Diego Housing Commission, and that covers the city of San Diego. So pretty much like any zip code that starts with a 921. For us, we got the city of Chula Vista and its respective zip codes. Now, there's one exception, and one is that for Bonita. So we're going to be helping the county of San Diego process some of those applications for the area of Bonita, and then the county of San Diego is going to cover everything that's not covered by us or the Housing Commission. And then there is a website, erapsandiego.org, where people can go in and they can check to see where they land in terms of the jurisdiction. So they can just go in, type their location, and then it gives them the organization that's going to cover them. Next slide, please. As far as eligibility, for us, like for the program that we have here in Chula Vista, like I mentioned, we have those zip codes for Chula Vista, and then plus that the one for Bonita. The other important eligibility factor is income. So one of the things we're looking at is the 80% area median income, or AMI. Now on the chart, you see there's two categories. You see the 80% AMI, and then there's a 50% AMI. I'm going to go into detail as far as why that 50% is so important right now. But the other criteria is that they must have a financial hardship due to COVID, and that has prevented that ability to pay rent or the utilities when they're due. And then they have to be experiencing some type of homelessness, risk of homelessness, or that instability that that's not letting them pay for those costs. And so they would have to show through a 3-day notice or an eviction notice that they're at that risk. Next slide, please. Now, the way we're going to prioritize these, there's 3 levels of or 3 rounds of priorities, and it's very important to mention that all of these are subject to funding. So it could happen that we could run out of funds and not get to all the priorities. So so that's why this is very important. So the first priority is we're going to start processing first those that are below the 50% area median income, or AMI, or they were unemployed for 90 days from the time of the application, and also that they're requesting rental arrears. So the priority right now is being placed on those that have past due rent and then fall within that 50% AMI, or have that unemployment within those last 90 days. So we're focusing on that population. Now, in situations where, like, say they do have those those elements in place, and they're also requesting utility bills, we can process those as well. But the priority is being given to those that are for rental arrears. Now, once we pass 70% of the funds being spent in this category, then we move on to priority number 2, and that's those that are below the 80% AMI and are requesting arrears or utility arrears. And then the third priority is everyone else that is also like within that 80% AMI and is requesting prospective rent as well. So again, like I mentioned, subject to funding, we could either it could happen that we may not go to all the way there to 2 or to priority 3. Next slide, please. Now, as far as documentation, one is picture ID. The other one is in terms of proof of income. They can either provide annual income from 2020, which can come from in the form of the IRS form 1040 or their W-2s. If they don't have that, they can also provide, if they can provide at least 1 month's equivalent of the household's income, and that could be either like public benefit statements, unemployment insurance, any wage statements, or interest statements that come out of that. Next slide, please. In terms of COVID hardship, the way we're looking at this is if they have if they qualify for unemployment benefits, that counts as part of that COVID hardship proof. Another one is if they've experienced either a reduction in income or if their costs increased or some other form of financial hardship because of COVID, that's not letting them pay for their household expenses, and then that can also be provided. Now, if they don't have anything of this, then there's a self-declaration option that they can provide, and there's a link there that we can send out that provides a document or a template that can help fill that out. And then, of course, that either they have a 3-day notice or an eviction letter that can support the situation. Next slide, please. Now, how to apply? So between now and Monday, people, the first step that we recommend is to check that website, the erapsandiego.org, to confirm if they're in, within that Chula Vista area. Then second thing is through the city of Chula Vista, they have a site, chulavistaca.gov/tenant help. And it's basically an interest list where they can go in and sign up to, for this program. They're right now for that, they're just putting their name on that. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily applying there yet. But then starting March 15, we're working on developing a site where people can apply online at chulavistaerap.org. Right now we're still in the test phase, but by this week we're looking to make that fully functional. So they can go in there and somebody from the community can apply. But if they need assistance through SBCS and some of our other partners, will be available to provide the assistance in completing those applications. Next slide, please. And then these are just some other links, resources, and we'll send out all this information so that everybody can have this available. But these are some of the websites that I mentioned, and then also a phone number that's going to be dedicated for this service. Next slide, please. And then this is our contact information for Jerry and I. And I just want to mention some quick FAQs that have been coming up as we've been rolling this out. So the first one is if applicants have any, do applicants need to have legal residency? And the answer to that is no. Like they do not need to provide proof of legal residency for this. Mortgage is not covered under this program. Also, if individuals receive assistance from other programs, so if say they're receiving housing assistance from a voucher-based program like Section 8, tenant-based rental assistance, those are not eligible for this program. But if they're living in an affordable housing unit where they are, say, like they're not getting a voucher, but the unit itself is receiving some sort of federal subsidy, those can be assisted. And then if none of these apply, say they're receiving from any other programs, the thing we just look at is we don't want to double dip. If say they're receiving from another program, we don't want to pay the same month through this program. So just kind of that rule of thumb in there. Then the other one is if somebody's renting a room, they can also apply. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that they hold the entire unit, but if they're renting just a room, that's okay. And then we have situations where we may have two families within a home that they're renting or sharing the rent. So in those situations, we'll look at it kind of on a case-by-case basis, but kind of the general idea in there is that if they're both part of that lease, we're going to combine the two families' income and have them apply as a single household. But if it's a family they're just renting one unit and just one family is applying, then we're going to take a look at only their income. And then the last one is if people can receive future rent, and like I mentioned, they can apply, but we're only going to be able to process those that fall within that priority 1 category. And I believe that's my last slide. So I'll pass it on to you, Brendaly. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Jared. I know that this program is so juicy, has so many layers about it, especially with the eligibility and the individual cases. I'm so glad to hear that you're taking a closer look on a case-by-case basis on certain situations, because as we all know, we are very kind of creative with our living arrangement, especially during the last year. And it's not fair to not to be eligible for assistance when we just don't fit in a particular box. So I'm so glad to hear that. Also, this set of slides will be included in David's big material link in our website. So yes, everybody will be receiving these slides on PDF form and can click on those links. And also whatever you tap and cut and paste into the chat will also be kept there for future use and referral of our attendees. So we have 3 more speakers, but I can entertain like one particular question. I know there will be plenty, but that's why you have shared with us your contact email and telephone number to address those particular questions. But one major question that is burning with somebody, I can share it now. I think that the most important item is that we have until March 15 to tell clients to express their interest. That doesn't mean that it's an application again, but it's just like putting on a list, and people will follow up on that. But still, don't let that deter you from after March 15, next Monday, start the documentation for the actual application in your website. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Jared. And next speaker will be Pamela Johnson. Pamela, are you here? We're going to share.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of this meeting today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So again, thank you for having me. My name is Pamela Johnson. I am a registered dietitian working at San Ysidro Health WIC. I am a site supervisor for 2 of our smaller offices in Imperial Beach and San Ysidro office across from Las Americas. And here at San Ysidro Health, we have about 5 offices in the South Bay area. So I am here to just kind of give a brief overview of our program and what we offer. And you'll see my contact information at the very end as well. So if there's any questions or a feedback or anything, you can always let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any resources or guidance needed. And I will start off by saying happy National Nutrition Month. This is an exciting month for us, especially as a dietitian. We celebrate this month, and tomorrow is actually Registered Dietitian Day. So again, thank you for having us during the month of March. If you could move on to the next slide. So what is WIC? So I'm sure many of you have heard of WIC either in the past or recently. WIC, or Women, Infants, and Children, is a special supplemental nutrition program for low-income women, infants, and children. So WIC provides federal grants to states for supplemental foods, healthcare referrals, and nutrition education. WIC is a short-term intervention program designed to influence lifetime nutrition and health behaviors in a targeted or high-risk population. And we'll get a little bit more into what high-risk population really means. WIC was established as a permanent program by legislation in 1975, and it's administered through the United States Department of Agriculture. WIC is nationwide, and it also includes some international locations. And I will say some of these international locations are primarily for U.S. military. If you could move to the next slide. Thank you. So who can apply for WIC? So as I mentioned before, women who are pregnant and postpartum, infants and children up to age 5, fathers with an infant or child up to age 5, and then grandparents caring for an infant or child up to age 5. I will include also, we do have foster parents, and anyone who receives custody of children under the age of 5 is also able to apply for WIC. Next slide. So what determines eligibility for WIC? So as we mentioned before, must be within the category we serve. So pregnant and postpartum women, infants, and children under age 5. What we'll need is to provide proof of residency in the same state that you are receiving WIC. So for the state of California, of course, we are looking for those that reside in California. Each state would have their own WIC services. They would meet WIC income guidelines, so new participants must present proof of income, and those that are currently receiving Medi-Cal, CalFresh, and CalWORKS are adjunctively eligible. They must present with at least one nutritional risk. So for example, diagnosed with anemia, preterm infant, or not meeting USDA dietary guidelines. And essentially all participants, we call them participants, do have at least one nutritional risk. And during enrollment appointments, WIC will also ask for proof of identification for each individual, proof of pregnancy as needed, recent height and weight measurements, and recent anemia screening. Next slide. So what does WIC provide for our participants in the community? Nutrition education and counseling, group education, individual education and counseling, online education through our wichealth.org, educational resources, handouts in a variety of languages. We are advocates of breastfeeding at WIC, so breastfeeding promotion and support. We are staffed with lactation educator counselors and international board certified lactation consultants. Also, we provide loan electric breast pumps and other lactation supplies. We also provide community resources and referrals and healthy and nutritious foods. And then I will say, I believe there's one more narrative that should be on that slide. There we go. So due to COVID-19, all appointments are being conducted over the phone until further guidance is provided from State WIC. So as of now, phone, email, and teletask, which is a texting service we are using, are used to communicate with participants daily. And we are anxiously awaiting telehealth options as well from the state. So that's exciting news. And next slide. So what can you purchase with WIC? So again, WIC is a special supplemental nutrition program. So what we'll provide will look similar to these items listed: cow's milk or soy milk options, cheese or tofu, yogurt, eggs, peanut butter and beans, whole grains and cereal, fruits and vegetables, yogurt, juice, infant formula, jarred baby food, and baby cereal. And then I had just mentioned that breastfeeding women are provided the largest package amongst all categories. Next slide. Thank you. So what does the San Ysidro Health WIC program offer? So on staff, we have 7 registered dietitians, including myself, certified through the Commission on Dietetic Registration. We have 7 degreed nutritionists maintaining a bachelor's or master's degree, 17 lactation educator counselors, and 1 international board certified lactation consultant. Friendly and helpful support staff. Our languages spoken: Spanish, Tagalog, Portuguese, and Chinese. On-site height and weight measurements, as well as anemia screening and diaper distribution for those in need. Pre-COVID, we did have obviously on-site offerings such as the summer lunch programs that were available at a few of our locations, and also cooking demos and nutrition education related celebrations. Also, some of the on-site height and weight measurements and anemia screening were done on-site. However, now we are able to receive electronically from participants. Next slide. So where can you find us? So here I listed just a few of our locations. That way you are aware of where we are in the community. We do have a location at Broadway in Chula, Vista. That's also where our administrative office is located. We have a National City location, the Imperial Beach San Ysidro location, and also an additional San Ysidro location that's actually within the San Ysidro Health Maternal and Child Health Center clinic. And I have attached our phone contact and also email contact just in general. I can provide further contact for myself and our Director of Nutrition on the next slide. So who should you contact? So here is my information in case anyone would like to get a hold of me, ask questions, resources, anything like that. And also Rebecca Gills, who is our Director of Nutrition and Registered Dietitian. She is also available to help in any way or provide any information needed. And we also do have an outreach coordinator. She's actually out of the office for the time being, but we can also provide her with this information as well. Next slide. Thank you. So I actually did have one question that popped up. Give me 1 second. So thank you so much, Alejandra, for your question. And yes, so not only just mothers, but families can, of course, apply for WIC. So meaning fathers, grandparents, aunts, uncles, if you have custody of your child or of these children, all are welcome to apply for WIC as long as they meet the eligibility requirements. And that's really just my brief overview. So if anyone has questions, feel free.
Thank you, Pamela. So we open the floor for any specific question. And your contact information is on the chat, right? And it's also included in this slide set. So we will be uploading all the slides for everybody, and especially with the links and all the details.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Pamela.
Thank you.
And we have our next speaker, Valeria Ochoa from the Southern Caregiver Resource Center with a service overview and updates. She sent us a revised file, so I hope that David can put up that revised PDF file with the latest on the service provided by the Southern Caregiver Resource Center. Hi, Valeria. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Brendaly, for getting this presentation up and going. I really appreciate having the opportunity to be here with everyone virtually. I know that we are in very uncertain times going on to better times due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but I know that I can definitely say, and some may agree, this has been an opportunity to learn. I've definitely learned new ways to help the individuals who we focus on helping and caring for. Again, I am here representing Southern Caregiver Resource Center. We are a nonprofit organization that has been established and been around for almost 30 plus years, 33 plus years. And I'm very honored to be representing them here as a community educator, because we are really here to help those who do so much for those for other individuals, and those are caregivers. We are here to care for those who care for others, those who are caring for a loved one who may have some kind of disability or maybe an adult child. But next slide, please. Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. We are here forming part of a larger collaborative effort. We are a caregiver resource center, specifically in the southern side, Southern Caregiver Resource Center. That's why our name came about. That's how our name came about. We form part of a larger collaborative effort. But specifically, we are located and we serve those specifically caregivers that reside within the San Diego County. That is all the way as far as Oceanside, Escondido, Carlsbad, to closer to the borderline, Chula, Vista, San Ysidro area, even the Imperial Valley area as well. We offer, again, free resources to the family caregiver. They're absolutely free. I always say that there is no catch. We are here to help the family caregiver. Next, please. And I mentioned that we form part of a larger collaborative effort. That's because there are 10 other caregiver resource centers, including Southern Caregiver Resource Center. We form part of a total of 11 caregiver resource centers within the state of California. So if you know a caregiver, or you yourself have been a caregiver or are a caregiver, feel free to connect with us. I will share our contact information at the end of this presentation. All of our services that we offer, some of these other Caregiver Resource Center offer them as well. So if you know someone that resides outside the San Diego County, for example, in LA, or up in San Francisco, there are other caregiver resource centers that they can connect with and utilize these resources that I'm about to talk about. You can go ahead and explore, connect with our website. It's at www.caregivercalifornia.org, and that is where you can find more information on our caregiver resource centers within the state of California. And again, that's just a more broad zooming out into the caregiver resource centers that we have, but more specifically in Southern Caregiver Resource Center. Next slide, please. We have specific services that, again, some of the caregiver resource centers that I mentioned about, they may or may not have these, but the majority of them do. So how do you qualify for these services, these free services that I'm about to talk about? Well, again, if you know a caregiver who's caring for an older, frail adult who is 60 years or older that has a difficult time completing activities of daily living, and what are those? What are activities of daily living? That is bathing, showering, cooking, driving yourself to the grocery store. If you know anyone who's caring for, an adult who is 60 years and older, an older frail adult who has a difficult time completing these things, then the caregiver qualifies for our services. So feel free to connect them with us. Or if you know someone who's caring for an older adult child who is 18 years or older that may have a cognitive impairment like traumatic brain injury, that they're caring for someone that may have a difficult time remembering things, may have a difficult time comprehending new information, then they qualify for our services as well. They're caregivers. Next, please. So the number one question is that I get from service providers, of professionals like us, that I get from caregivers. The number one question that we get is, how do I connect to your services? Well, first of all, the first step is pick up the phone and you connect with us. You call us at the phone number that I will provide at the end of this presentation. And I do want to mention is that let the caregivers know, those that you are connecting with, let them know that we don't require any proof of income. I know that in the Latino community, African American community, Asian American community as well, those are underrepresented communities. The number one issue and the number one fear that they have is that they don't know if we require any proof of income. They don't know if we require any proof of citizenship status or employment status. We don't require any of that. So let them know that as long as they're caregivers, they can connect with us and we will help them out and connect them with all of our services. And if not, maybe one of the services that they can use. Next, please. So after this caregiver, you connect them to us and they contact us, they will be connected with an intake coordinator. That is the first person that they will speak with. They will assess their situation and then connect them with a family consultant. The family consultant, I know if you've ever heard me speak and give a service overview or speak in general about Southern Caregiver Resource Center, I always say, and will always say, I don't care how cheesy or redundant it gets, the family consultant is essentially the best friend to the caregiver that we are trying to help out and offer our resources to. Then the reason why I say that the family consultant is the best friend to the caregiver is because they will essentially be with the caregiver and guide them through their entire caregiving journey. And that means from the point to where they are caregivers to the point where they are no longer caregivers for whatever the reason may be. The family consultant will assess their situation and give them a very specialized, individualized plan, caregiver plan, because we know that every individual, every human being is different and every single person has a very specialized and different situation than those that they know, their friends, family members. And that's the same case with our caregivers. They're all caregivers, but they have different situations. They may be caring for a loved one that has a different diagnosis, a different condition than the other one that we were helping. So the family consultant, again, will develop this very personalized and specialized plan based on their situation, which may be very complicated, very stressful. They will be connected to some of the services that we offer, if not all of our services, so that they can receive that help that they so desperately need. Next, please. because we know that the caregiver role, if you've been a caregiver or if you've spoken with caregivers, the caregiving role is very, very difficult, especially during this time. It can take a toll on your health, your mental health, and it can take not only to take a toll on the caregiver, but also take a toll on the care receiver. So depending on the situation, the caregiver may or may not be connected to one of these services, and this specific service is our support groups. Our support groups, we know, by this time, we know what support groups are. They are professionally facilitated at all times, and now during the COVID-19 pandemic, they're offered virtually in both English and Spanish, in Español. And these support groups are really popular, and they're great within our caregivers because they get to speak with other caregivers that may be going through the same situations or that may be stepping into the waters of being a new caregiver as well. They can be given, in these support groups, they're given advice, they're given some support in a larger support virtual network in which, again, they can build that support and that group of individuals that they can rely on and connect with and make new friends and mingle and have some time to themselves. So this is one of the services that we offer and that we strongly push for, especially right now during this period of social isolation for some of our caregivers and for everyone. Next, please. Now, we do have some caregivers that may not necessarily be interested in our support groups, whether that is for personal reasons, for their own personal reasons that they may have. Maybe they are already attending other support groups, or maybe they just don't like to necessarily be in a large crowd, even though it's virtual. We do have our counseling sessions for those individuals, for those caregivers, in which they get more of a one-on-one emotional support and guidance from our master's level clinician that can help and guide them during their caregiver role and their caregiving situation. They can receive some helpful skills and strategies that, again, they could receive in the support groups, but now this is more of a one-on-one personalized conversation that they can have with our master's level clinician. Again, they will be given more guidance on how to juggle their caregiving role, and they can also be connected to other support groups, other counseling sessions from the partners that we have and other professional organizations that we know of. We're really just here to help the caregiver with our caregiving role, as a lot of our caregivers do reach out to us when they have caregiver burnout and they can no longer go on, and it feels like that sometimes. Next, please. Now, for our caregivers, or you may know someone that may be dealing with a legal situation that they need help or assistance with, we are very fortunate to partner with legal and financial consultation individuals like lawyers, attorneys that partner with us to help our caregivers for zero cost, for free. During this time, we do recommend our caregivers to bring a list of all the questions that they may have. They may receive some guidance and help on how to fill out the power of attorney, how to understand the healthcare directives, and so on. We know that it can be very complicated. It requires a lot of paperwork, and it requires a lot of time and information to comprehend and take in, especially if you're caring for someone that can no longer do this for themselves. So we offer a free 1-hour consultation, and again, we offer legal and financial consultation for absolutely free of charge. Next, please. We also have, and this is where I am a little biased, the Education and Training Services. This is the department that I am specifically a part of, as part of the whole collaborative effort of Southern Caregiver Resource Center. We offer a variety of classes, a variety of trainings. We also have a lot of educational information on how our community can understand the caregiver world, how to understand the diagnosis that our loved ones have been diagnosed with, and how to focus overall as a whole on self-care, especially right now. All of our services, again, are to help the family caregiver. So all of this information, health bulletins, educational flyers, educational workshops that have been recorded in the past, you can find them on our website, which I will share soon in this presentation. And this is what we do to try to empower our community on the caregiving role and what the caregiving world is like for our clients and caregivers. Next, please. We have our respite care program, which is a very popular program right now, especially right now during the COVID-19 pandemic. Respite is a temporary break for the caregiver to relieve them from their caregiver duties. So during this time, I know that we live, again, in a time of uncertainty in which all of us were trying to protect ourselves and protect our loved ones and keep our household healthy and safe. But right now, more than ever, our caregivers need this service, which is the reason why it's still going on, up and running. During this time, if you know a caregiver or for our caregivers, if they need assistance caring for their loved one at home, we can send a professional to go care for their loved one during that period of time that they need so. Of course, taking the CDC county health recommendations in mind. If they need to send their loved one outside their home into an assisted living or caregiver facility, we can do that as well for that short period of time that they need for absolutely free. And this is just a break, a much needed break that our caregivers receive from this program. Next, please. We also have our Reach to Caregivers, or in Spanish, Calma program. This program is specifically for caregivers. It's very special because it's specifically designed for caregivers who are caring for someone with a form of Alzheimer's or related dementia from memory loss. And it is a program that's made possible by a grant that we received through the San Diego County. That's the number one question I get. How is this possible? How do you do this? And it's a program that's designed to help our caregivers, again, with their loved ones, but specifically focusing on self-care, how to understand their loved one's diagnosis, and how to focus on stress management in difficult situations. So if you know anyone that's caring for a loved one with a form of dementia or Alzheimer's, feel free to connect them with us, and I will connect them with a promotora. In fact, we have one here, Lupita. She's our promotora, and she's watching this along with everyone right now. Feel free to contact me in the chat box for any questions about this program. It's a really great program. It's an evidence-based model that's been proven to help our caregivers. So feel free to connect anyone that can utilize this program. Next, please. This is a summary of all of the services that we offer. I'm very hopeful that we will continue to grow and offer many, many other services. But for now, these are all of the services that we offer. Again, they are absolutely free, as far as going down all the way to respite, to Together Care, to offering free services such as support groups, counseling sessions, our specialized information and education and training, which is the information that we have on our website. Feel free to check out our personal website, caregivercenter.org. You have our information as far as our phone number on there too. Next, please. And again, the information that I was talking about, as far as this information, what is Alzheimer's? What is traumatic brain injury? What is the caregiver role? All of our presentations, all of our live stream classes that we've had, our health bulletins, everything, all of this is on our website. We like to call it our iCare portal, so feel free to check it out. Next, please. My contact information. Follow us on, this is a cliche, but I love it. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. That is the way everyone is communicating right now. So feel free to follow us and stay updated with our latest news and events that are going on in Southern Caregiver Resource Center. And lastly, next, please. Feel free to connect with me. My name is Valeria Ochoa. Again, I'm a community educator. We are located off in Ruffin Road. We're up and running. If you know anyone that would like to meet me or anyone else in person at our office, again, we're still operating because our caregivers need us, of course, taking the health recommendations into mind. So we do require an appointment case-by-case basis in order to meet with us in person at our main office. At this point, I would like to take any questions. Thank you so much, Brendaly, for the opportunity. I hope that all of you found it insightful and helpful, and that you'll be able to connect caregivers or anyone else that can utilize these services to me and to my colleagues in the organization.
Thank you, Valeria. I really was pleased to see the comprehensiveness about the programs that your center is offering, also the availability of sessions and support in Spanish, and in the inclusion of a promotora specifically to address dementia and Alzheimer's programs in the Latino community. As we know, there's a lot of stigma associated with recognizing early signs of dementia and Alzheimer's.
Definitely.
And the role of the promotora, as I always put forward, may be crucial in helping
Yes.
families that are in need. So thank you for that update. Any particular burning question from the audience before we go to our last speaker of the day?
And I did really quickly want to just reiterate, Brendaly, that all of the services that we offer, again, if you know anyone that resides outside of the San Diego County, again, we form part of a larger collaborative effort of caregiver resource centers within the state of California. So if you know anyone that lives outside the San Diego County, they can utilize some of these services, whether if they're located within the state of California, whether that's up in LA, San Francisco, they can utilize these services as well.
Excellent. Yes, thank you for the reminder. And again, this LifeSet PDF is going to be uploaded by David later on for all those links. And definitely thank you for the opportunity to touch base with us today. And later on, we will get more updates as your program offering gets expanded. So lastly, but not least, let me see. Okay, yes, we have Michelle Favela for the First 5 Steps Home Visiting Program. And do we have Michelle today with us?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Brendaly.
Hello, hello. So this is from SBCS, formerly known as South Bay Community Services. And we will have then, this is our last speaker for today. And take it away, Michelle.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. This has been such an informative and such a great meeting, so many resources in the community. So I'm very excited to hear everybody who has shared their resources. And I want to share another program from SBCS, which is the First 5 First Steps program. Next slide, please. And this is our mission statement for SBCS. Next slide, please. I will be skipping some slides just to make sure that I stay within the time frame. So the First 5 First Steps program, we are mainly funded by First 5 San Diego. So that's why we are called First 5 First Steps. And we offer home visiting services. At the time, we are only offering virtual services, but we are a family support program. So again, even though we are home visiting services, we call ourselves Family Support Program because we want to make sure that we are there not as a professional, not as an expert in the family's homes, but also just as a support. So we want to make sure that we are partnering with them, that we are there to meet them where they are and see what their needs are at that time. Next slide, please. A little bit of background information about our program. We are accredited by Prevent Child Abuse America, and we've been accredited since 2016. And that's we are going to be going through accreditation process again later this year. So our main funder is First 5 San Diego, but we have other funding streams as well that have allowed us, especially this fiscal year, to grow our team and to offer services to many more families in the community. Next slide, please. So we have what we call the braided funding program. So with the different funding sources, and I'll explain a little bit more later on how that looks different on how we can accept families into our program. I'll explain that in a minute. So because we feel, alone, here's the quote from Helen Keller, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And in this meeting, I can see a lot of that, right? All of the resources that are being shared, all of the different programs. And I hear a lot of presenters say, if you have somebody outside of this region, outside of Chula Vista, outside of San Diego, there are other programs similar to ours. And that is the same for First 5 First Steps. We are part of a larger network that we can offer services, not only for families in the South region, but countywide. Next slide, please. And this is our larger team. So SBCS serves the South Region community. So we have Say San Diego in Central Region. We have Home Start in East and Palmer Health in North Region. And the American Academy of Pediatrics are our countywide coordinators. So they are the ones that provide us the trainings and help us do presentations as well. So again, we are part of a larger team. We all offer the exact same services. It just depends where the family lives. So we can make sure that we connect them with the appropriate resources in that specific community. Next slide, please. And through Healthy Families America, our mission is that all children receive nurturing care from their family that leads to a healthy, long, and successful life. So again, we know that the parent is the expert in their child. We know they are the ones that spend the most time with their children, their primary caretaker. So again, we are there to partner with them, to be with them and accompany them. When we receive their referrals, it can either be through pregnancy or for some of them postpartum through their parenting journey. Next slide, please. So who do we support specifically? So we provide support services during pregnancy, infancy, and through toddlerhood. And most of our referrals come when a family is expecting to have a baby or a participant is expecting to have a baby. So during that prenatal period, we can really do so much. If they enroll in our program prenatally, we have the opportunity to get to talk about what are some goals that this family has? What are some future plans? How does that primary caretaker want to welcome this baby? Do they have everything they need? Are there any other resources? So we get to have all of these conversations while they're pregnant and preparing for their baby's arrival. If we receive a referral postpartum, then we are able to still talk about those different things, but more focused on that parent and child interaction, that baby bonding and attachment with their parent. And we focus a lot on play too. So what are developmentally appropriate activities that the child can be doing at this time, helping them reach their different milestones. Next slide, please. And specifically, how do we support families? So we have community partnerships. Again, we work with a lot of different agencies and community partners where if a family has a specific need, we don't necessarily provide every single thing for the family, but we do offer information about where they can find some support if there's something different that they need. For example, if they need mental health services support, so we can refer them to that. If they need rental assistance, for example, so we can refer them to different programs, because we want to make sure that we look at the family as a whole. We want to make sure that they have their basic needs met, or at least have some resources that they can work with, so that then we can also focus on baby's development, mom's well-being, and all of those things. So we focus a lot, like I mentioned, we promote healthy child growth and development. We offer developmental screenings throughout their participation in the program, depression screenings as well. We cultivate and strengthen nurturing parent-child relationships. So again, we look at the family as a whole, not just focusing on the baby. Next slide, please. And this is general information. We also focus a lot. I want to highlight the reading part, because oftentimes we hear moms who are pregnant, but how am I going to read to my baby? Or how am I going to talk to my baby? I'm pregnant, So it's really important. We really focus on that early literacy process. So if we start talking to the babies, if we start singing to them, start telling them stories, we are helping with their language development pretty early on. We also focus a lot on breastfeeding. So our previous presenter for WIC, right? So we have a lot of families who are accessing WIC services already. And although we, as our home visiting program, we promote breastfeeding, if they need additional information, or if they are having difficulties in breastfeeding their children or have more nutrition questions, then we can refer them out to different resources. Next slide, please. So our target population and the families that we serve, you can see here, we can enroll families prenatally if they are low income, if they are immigrant or refugee families, if they are military families, or teen parents. So as long as they meet one of that criteria, then we can enroll them prenatally. For those families who are receiving CalWORKs benefits, which is mainly their financial assistance, their cash aid assistance, if they are receiving CalWORKs, then we can enroll them right before their child turns 2 years old. So that's the difference in being able to enroll families, again, either prenatally, if they meet any of those first 4 criteria, or if they are receiving CalWORKs, we can accept referrals right before their child turns 2 years old. So prenatally, right before they turn 2. And we are also serving families, and this has been a new addition to our program, we are also serving CalEarn families. So for those who are receiving CalWORKs benefits, and they have a teen who is looking to complete their high school and they are a parent, so we are also assisting and supporting those families through through their goals. Next slide, please. So what does a typical home visit look like, right? And right now in this slide, we are seeing a picture of what it used to look like pre-COVID. Right now, we are only offering virtual services, but this can really speak to what I was talking about. We really focus on that parent and child relationship. We focus a lot on play, learning through play. So we start off by listening to the parent. What is what they want to accomplish? What are the questions that they have? What is the support that they need? Play that is involving the child, what are developmentally appropriate activities that they can be practicing at home with the material that they already have at home. Connecting with others, I'll speak to that in a little bit. We have monthly parent gatherings, virtual parent gatherings, and then laughing and learning, making it fun. Next slide, please.
Yes, we're going to kind of start wrapping this one up, Michelle.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we can skip this slide. I already spoke about the screenings that we do. We can skip this slide. And this is a picture of the monthly gatherings or graduations that we have, either in person that we've had before or virtual. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So how to refer. I am going to include this in the chat box, and it'll be included with the information that will be shared later on as well. My contact information will be at the end too, but one of the ways that families can even self-refer is going to our website, and I'm posting the link in the chat box. So as long as they can put in their name, their phone number, we can reach them that way. There is also the website where you can find flyers, and I'm posting this in the chat. If anybody would like to know more, if they would like to see the flyers in English and in Spanish, we offer bilingual services in English and in Spanish. Then there's also referral information there. Next slide, please. And we can skip to the end. We do the phone screenings, we contact families. The main messaging, there's no wrong door. If you refer to our program, if you refer to other home visiting programs, we all work together, and we all, we meet in collaboratives as well. So we want to make sure that the family is receiving the support that they need, whether if it's with our program or another program that best fits their needs. And there's my contact information. Feel free to email me, call me, or access the different links that I posted on the chat as well.
Thank you, Michelle. And while David prepares to go back to the main slide set with the last piece of info, here we have Michelle's email. And again, these slides will be shared with in the uploaded big file. Any burning question for Michelle before we close up the call? I know that with all the requirements and the different definitions, it would be best to give you a call or via email and contact you, Michelle, directly.
Of course, if you have anybody who might be interested, feel free to reach out to me. And again, the most important thing, as long as we can have a name, phone number, and their consent to share their information with us, then we can take it from there.
Thank you, Michelle. And yes, we heard several updates, quick updates from some, and full presentations for programs. Very important in the community, not only on resilience on COVID times, but also on prevention, which are important as well. Our next call is going to be April 13th, and then May the 11th, June 8th, and there's no call traditionally in July. I wanted to make the invitation for some of you that are interested in presenting. Again, the format is 15 minutes with plus Q&A, or a quick snippet of an update before then, right after our CVCC updates. So send me an email with your request. Also, we do want to, of course, anticipate when we're going to meet in person, but in the meantime, if any of you have experience doing more interactive sessions and breakout room exercise and things like that, I would welcome your help. You can contact me directly or David Garcia, and we can talk. I would love to do raffles. I would love to do interactive mini sessions within this forum, but I know that addressing the full audience is important. We had today between 112 and 115 participants. So I am so glad that you find this a monthly call useful, informative, and would like to share your information. I think I have a hand up. Let me see if I can get to it. And that is, let me see who has the hand up. Yes, whoever has the hands up, can you just ask your question? All right, or you can type it in the chat log, no problem. Here is our website that David is making available. The recording of the call will be in there, the partners tab, and we use always the same web link to join in the Teams call right there. You can also review past recordings, past calls, as we are archiving them there since I arrived last July. And I also wanted to make the invitation for any of you that have some services or access to closed captioning services and interpretation services. Please let us know, because I'm really looking forward to make these calls more accessible and in many ways. I see, I want to open the floor in the last couple of minutes in case there are other announcements or information to share. I love to see all these updates in the chat. Fantastic. And this is an opportunity to share our concerns as I become more knowledgeable about all the partnerships and the players in my landscape assessment. Since I arrived here 9 months ago, I do want to express my interest in future collaborations outside the partners call as well. We're working with promotoras, community health workers, not only here at the local level, but also joining some statewide initiatives and tagging along my national experience with the Office of Minority Health on those fronts. So I would love to hear more. I see there is a raised hand. Elia, do you have a question or an issue to share?
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I just wanted to share that there's going to be a resource fair in San Ysidro at a new swap meet that is going to be opening up soon for any nonprofits who are interested in participating. And that's going to be on March 19th. So if anybody is interested and they'd like to go, this is to share with the San Ysidro area. You can message me at dluna@silentvoices.org and I'll send you the details.
Thank you. Matthew, you have your hand raised.
Yes, good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. So with CSA San Diego, we are providing a training next Tuesday regarding the LGBTQ protections for housing discrimination. Against housing discrimination, the new administration has reaffirmed their commitment to including those protections for LGBTQ individuals. So we're going to be providing a training next week on what that means for housing. The other thing I wanted to mention is that within San Diego County, source of income is a protected class as well, meaning people can't be discriminated against for having a verified income, and this would include these ERAP funds that were talked about earlier. So if somebody's received those ERAP funds and is having difficulty even getting that 25% accepted, give us a call and we'll see if we can kind of navigate that situation. So just wanted to give that update from our end. Thank you so
Certainly,
much.
Matthew. That's good. We had you in an earlier call, and eventually we'll have you again with some updates on your programs. But it's very important to make those connections between programs available. I know it's 10:30 a.m. now, so I do want to emphasize my gratitude and appreciation to all the work that you personally, your organizations, and your supported staff are doing for the residents of Chula Vista, South Bay area, and beyond. Thank you so much for joining us today, and look forward to seeing you virtually in the April the 13th, our next call. Visit our website for more updates. The drive-through of the food donations is this Saturday by the Chula Vista Welfare Council. You can self-subscribe under the tab Partners, and we'll receive notifications, reminders of this call during the month. So thank you, everybody. Love to see your faces and see you in April.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Brendaly. Bye.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brendaly. It was nice meeting you.
Same here. Bye.